Got it.
And we are live with episode
Here we
8.
go.
Episode number 8. I'm really proud of us for actually doing 8 episodes in a row here. We haven't
Yeah.
skipped one weekly episodes from yours truly.
I get to look at your disgusting faces all over again.
It's been an entire weekend with you, and now we're back online.
Yeah, so we just got back from let's do an intro, proper intro first. My name, it's just Jim always does it, so I'll do it this time. My name is Dr. Michael Cellini, and I'm a board-certified diagnostic and interventional radiologist in New Jersey. I'm joined with my younger brother, Thomas Cellini, diagnostic radiology resident, future breast imager, and also below me, my older brother, Dr. James Cellini, veterinary neurologist extraordinaire.
Below you in status
nice to be here.
and age.
Good to be here, says. Happy to be here. Let me turn this light on a little bit.
My name is Dr. Cellini, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
So dumb. So we were.
Oh, sorry.
My name is
Stretch.
Loser. So we were.
Oops, because I was talking, right?
Oops.
And oops, right? Because I was talking.
Jim, what are you
That's
drinking?
So funny.
I am drinking a Summit American Pale Ale from Tilted Barn Brewery here in Rhode Island.
Oh, your background's blurred, so we're not gonna be able to see it.
Can't exactly see it, but I'm here for
God,
it.
it's painful.
I know, right?
It's nifty. A little post-work beer, a little post-work brewski.
Did you work
I
today,
had
Jim?
a Chilean sea bass and asparagus for dinner.
Wow, it's very wealthy of you to eat for dinner
Yeah.
on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Mighty blue collar of you to be eating Chilean sea bass.
Is
Speaking
that?
of blue collar, we saw our family this weekend.
All right.
Yeah, we were in Georgia all week long, or all weekend.
The great nation of Georgia.
Yeah.
The great nation, aka state of Georgia, where we were all born and raised.
Yeah. We were not at the house we were born and raised in, but we were at
No, we were not.
yeah, not quite. It was a slightly nicer house than our mom has nowadays than the one we grew up in, but it's a fantastic area to have a weekend getaway in.
Yeah, luckily we have a significant upgrade since the house we grew up in now. And yeah,
I don't think we could all fit in there if we had to go back.
We could.
Yeah. It would just be a little tighter squeeze on a
Yeah, it would just be tight. The design of our old house was miserable.
oh yeah.
I mean, who designs just a hall with just branching rooms? And that's
Just
it.
one short hallway and then multiple rooms off that short
Yeah.
hallway.
It made no sense. The old designs and houses they always get me because I'm like, now the big thing is just open concepts, everything. But back then I'm like, everything was so closed off and like dark. The hallways were dark. They just close off to everything, and they open for these rooms that just go hallway room, hallway room, hallway room, hallway laundry room, hallway bathroom. I mean, it makes no sense.
I mean, that's how all these old cities and stuff, New York, Chicago, you have these houses that are just the worst layouts ever that people just piled in on top of each other. And they're like, oh, we renovated it, but there's a load bearing wall right here. And you have 3 inches space you have to walk through.
Can't do much about that. And all the old houses, New York's pretty similar to that. But our house was built in late 90s, like 96 or something. Our old house.
Or like the second old house in Carrington.
Yeah.
How much so we lived in 2 houses. How much do you think the first house is worth on Zillow right now?
I know what we bought the first house for. The first house we bought,
$80,000.
I think we bought it for. Yeah, I think we bought it for 80, and we sold it for 110. That was in 96.
I feel like it's got to be like 2 something, right?
I would say 200.
Yeah, 240.
Holy!
Oh my god! What?
No way.
This is Zillow,
Yeah.
but this house was built in 1987 by
Yeah,
our
it was.
uncle.
Wait, no, he didn't build this one.
Yeah, he did.
No, because this
Yeah,
is
he
all
Nope,
this
he
county
built
business.
that.
Yes, he did.
No, he built the house.
First of all, you weren't even born when this house was built.
I know. What are you talking about? Tommy's like,
I mean,
I watched him
you
put
guys
the
were like
nails in.
2 years old. You guys act
I
like you
walked
were
through
like,
this lot,
yeah, I know. Jim was,
stepping on nails and
Jim was
used
5.
Mountain Dew
Michael was
cans.
what, 3 at the time, and they're like, "Boy, I was there the whole time. Remember it brick by
I was
brick."
2.
Yeah,
I was there. I remember every nail.
yeah. So stupid.
Wait, what a return. We sold it in 96 for 110. By the way, 110 or 113, if I am not mistaken.
Well,
So
according
now-
to Zillow, it was according to Zillow on October 30th, it was sold for $109,000.
Oh, there you go. See,
There-
I remember that though. That's a pretty good.
Yeah,
I
that's
said
impressive.
110. Yeah, see, I remember for some reason that always stuck with me.
Shout out to Zillow for having our actual price point for that house.
And I was
That's
11 at
which
the time.
means mom and dad made about, I don't know, $40,000 on it.
Yeah, well, scroll down. Does it have the actual assessment? So I mean, we
It only
probably
has one.
what do we
Taxes
we probably bought it for like 60,000 or something. You know,
Yeah, the
probably
tax assessment's confusing. That gets into weird
Yeah.
calculations and whatnot.
it's probably double the money over what
Yeah, let's see.
15 or 12 years or something. There was our house.
Look at
little,
that house.
That's the house.
little 3-bedroom house.
It's a pretty
I mean,
decent
do you
lot.
realize how many times I rode my bike down this driveway and then cross the street and then just into this guy's yard?
Yeah.
Tom? It's Tom's yard.
Yeah. An Irish
look-
family named, and the dad's name was Tom. I forget the rest of them.
Yeah. I think like
I
the
live
son
right
was
there.
Sean or something like that.
No, the wife was Nancy.
Tom and Nancy.
This
And,
was a super old guy named Doc.
Oh yeah, Doc.
yeah, when we were
I
growing
used
up.
to
And
think
these
that
were people we
driveway-
never saw.
Yeah, I
Never
used to
saw
think that
half the people.
driveway was the steepest driveway on the face of the planet. And now it's like
This
doesn't
is
look that
where
bad.
Clint lived. This guy's name was Clint.
Don't remember that. Don't
I
remember that.
Clint with an N. No,
Oh man, that was a bad joke.
Perfect.
That was a bad joke.
his name was Clint.
I didn't even catch that. That was so bad.
It
And
was,
then
it was,
this was Brett Calloway's house.
yeah,
That was the
Fred and
Callaways.
Jessica.
That's right.
I have no idea. Who
And then
lived
I
there.
don't even know who lived right here.
Wow, that's pretty good return. So hold on, go back. So that was what? Double the money over.
Ooh,
It was
our house was
100% return over what? When did we move in? 87
87.
to 9 to 9 years. 9 years, 100% return ain't bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
And fast forward to we sold it. We sold it in
Jeez.
96.
Yeah.
Wait.
Was it
So-
Hold on a sec. Go up.
I know what you're saying, but I was going to go down to the sale history.
I know exactly how much we bought that house for.
So we bought,
We bought it for $148,500.
yeah, it was like 140,
148.
and then
How do you know the exact price of the
I
house?
don't know. Go back if you see if you can find the where it was sold. It was 148, I think.
it just goes back to 2015.
Price that, like I said. When did mom
Because the
sell it?
dealer, the actual owner was bankrupt, or the builder
that's-
was bankrupt,
That's right.
and I think he listed it for like 180, and we got it down to like 145 or something.
Jeez.
Well, the builder just got 2 in over his head.
So we bought it, and then now we didn't sell it anywhere near
We
that.
bought it for 140, and then this son bitch is worth 462.
Jeez, man, the real estate is insane over there.
This
I
is
mean,
Kennesaw,
What
man.
the?
Do you get that school district? Shit goes
Dude,
up.
yeah, this is why. Let me show you the freaking schools. Our
What
school
the-
district. You know what? This might have been why we ended up all being doctors. Bam, public schools right here.
Yeah. That's
Look
what
at that
9
rating.
out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10.
I was
Look at
telling
that
everyone.
rating.
It's like when you go to public school, I was like, yeah, but our public schools in like Cobb County or like Georgia public schools are terrible on the whole, but it's like Cobb County has some of the best public schools like in the country.
They're all like schools of excellence, whatever that means.
Yeah, like magnet schools and stuff like that. And there's like a ton
Yep.
of them around there. Like every single one of them was great.
Yeah,
Careers, blog, cookie preference. What the hell is that?
Surprisingly, I hated school growing up, but I feel like I did get a good education. I don't remember anything from like elementary school. You know, when I talked to Andriana, she like remembers vividly
Yeah, that's
things
Jim.
about like third grade and stuff. I'm like, I don't remember anything from third grade.
Oh God, I remember occasionally target classes from like 4th and 5th grade and stuff like that,
Mhm.
but I don't remember anything else. I remember
Yeah.
swim stuff like that happened there, like team trips and things like that.
You guys
don't remember
remember when this
anything.
guy next door to us brought home a prostitute and she was like wandering around the neighborhood?
Yes,
Into our
I do.
garage, you mean?
You
He
remember that?
literally-
Yeah.
Yeah,
This guy over here brought home a prostitute from downtown Atlanta.
this is a true
And then-
story.
This is a true story. Dad saw her just like wandering around and she was like in our driveway the next morning.
No, she like knocked on the door asking for help, and we were like,
Oh, right.
No, she
right.
broke into the garage.
yeah, well, she was like trying to run away to like find help basically, and she was in our garage and was like, I need
Find
help
help for what?
Well,
I
I
think she
think
was
what-
drunk, or
Well, I think
some sort
yeah.
of.
So the story because I think I was still living at home when
Intoxication.
this happened was
I was home
Or
too.
Yeah, I think you were.
yeah, but I actually don't remember any part of the story because I was dead.
I remember all of it because I was awake.
I was so dead. But the story is apparently this guy is just like a bachelor moved in. He picked up like assumingly a person of the night.
A confidant.
Yeah, a confidant. That he brought.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
she probably wasn't a prostitute. Honestly, it was probably
yeah.
it was just a
So-
friend of the night.
So I think it was a friend of the night. He brought her all the way from like Atlanta, basically, to Kennesaw, Georgia, which is a good 45 minutes, 50 minutes out in the suburbs. If you're from the city, it looks like the absolute middle of nowhere, like it's Deliverance or something like that. And I think what happened was he like started to freak out or something and like started to scream and yell. And so she just ran away and was like trapped in the suburbs in the middle of nowhere, ran away, found herself in our garage and knocked on the door, asked for help. And our parents were like,
My dad was like,
hello?
What is going on here? Because she went into the garage, and our garage there's a door
This is
from the
before
driveway
cell
to the
phones or
garage.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a door from the garage or the driveway to the garage, and then there's garage, and then you go into the house. So she was stuck in the garage area, couldn't get into our house. I think she tried it actually.
I think
My-
the dog was barking like crazy.
Yeah, and my
That's
dad
what-
was like, "What was going on?" I woke up, went down there, and here this friend of the night was.
He was
And,
like, what?
I mean,
Dude, one time I called Dad when I was going home from swim practice, and there was a guy following me home, and I thought it was one of my friends, but it wasn't. It was just somebody I didn't know, just like literally just tailgating me for miles and miles on the way home.
why'd you show the house?
Yeah.
Is that
What's
part of
that?
the story? It's showing the house
Yeah.
part of this. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I get home and I call the house, and I'm like, Dad, somebody's following me.
Oh, here we
Oh,
go.
And he's like,
Here
he's like,
we
okay,
go.
just drive slow and
Hold on, your
he
internet.
goes, just drive slow and steady. What?
Of course, your internet is garbage as usual.
Yeah.
Is it
that's
still?
Yeah.
This guy's the rate limiting step is his internet. And we're back. Jim's internet is screwed up as usual. Pay your
Yeah.
bill. Sell your car.
Yeah. All right, Jim, tell that story. So someone was following you.
I don't want to go on anymore.
I don't want to tell.
I'm so sunburned, by
So-
the way. Anyways, go ahead.
So basically, I was being followed home at swim practice one night, and I get home. I call Dad on the way home, and I'm like, Dad, somebody's following me. He was like, just drive, normal, don't freak out. And I'm here, so just come home. I was like, all right. Didn't think anything of it. The guy pulls off like right at the neighborhood entrance after tailgating me for like, the entire trip from swim
Yeah.
practice.
Why? What did you do? Anything?
No idea.
Did you like cut
No
him off
idea.
or something, or is it actually just
Maybe.
a coincidence?
I might have.
Probably cut him
Yeah.
off.
I was probably
guarantee
playing my
Jim did
sound system
something.
too loud.
Yeah.
Damn
God.
kids.
Yeah.
My CD player, my subwoofers. So I get home and Dad has a baseball bat and he's pacing back and forth in the driveway like this in his underwear. And by underwear, I mean huge boxer shorts. And he's just going back and forth with a baseball bat. And all he has on is a pair of boxer shorts. That's it.
Wait, so put
Like
yourself
you're
in dad.
moving the
So
cursor
put
back and
yourself.
forth.
I know. Put yourself in dad's shoes for a second, because now that you're a dad, what if
Yeah.
your daughter called you 10 years from now, or whatever, when she drives, 14 years from now, and says, "Hey, Dad, someone's following me." What were you doing? Will you be in the driveway with a baseball bat?
I wouldn't be outside in my underwear.
your
but I
underwear?
would be. I don't feel the need for that. However, I would have a baseball bat in my hand, ready to go.
You couldn't
Yeah.
put. You would put pants on.
Yeah, you'd have the
I would put-
wherewithal to put pants on.
Yeah. I dress up like the Hitman from the Hitman video games. But
Puts a suit and
Yeah,
tie
it-
on. It goes out.
yeah.
Oh,
If she
man.
called, I mean, I get it now. Like if she called me, and was like, Daddy, somebody's like messing with me, and just in any
Yeah.
way, shape, or form, I'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, time to die.
Okay.
Okay. Oh,
You know,
God, that's
I'll
funny.
tell you a story. Since we're on the same topic of following home. So when I was being recruited for swimming, so I'll back up a little bit. So in high school, I was a good swimmer. So I was being recruited by a few colleges, mostly in like the SEC. And I wanted to go to Georgia originally, but I still kind of went through with going on these recruiting trips, and I had a couple of coaches over to my house and blah blah blah. I'm not trying to like brag or anything. I'm just trying to tell a story so you know what I'm talking about.
It's all
So
factual. You can say it.
yeah, so the coaches would come over to our house, so they would fly into wherever you were. So like the kids who they were trying to recruit for college, and the coach would fly to your swim practice, usually meet you at swim practice, follow you home, and your parents would make them dinner, and you guys would talk about the university, why it's a good fit for you, blah blah blah, and then eventually you would go on a recruiting trip. So this is so bad. This is so like 18-year-old Michael, by the way. So I wanted to go to Georgia. I went on a Georgia recruiting trip. I also wanted to go to Auburn. I already went on the Auburn recruiting trip. I didn't want to go to Florida because I really don't know why. When you're young, you just like get things made up in your head.
Yeah.
But
You know
go
what's
ahead.
you know what's to Florida is Jared.
Dude,
The
I'd
infamous
rather root
Jared.
for
yeah. Jared went to
Tie it
Florida.
back into
Tie it back
Jared.
in
Dude,
to
I'll
8
root-
episodes.
I'll root for ISIS before I root for Florida. But go ahead. That's probably
Florida,
why you
Florida
hate it.
is. You know what the thing about Florida too is? Every single person I know that's gone to Florida, and I've known many over the years, they
Same.
always talk about Florida being like this academic institution of the South, as if it's like some Ivy League school that just so happens to be in SEC East. Every single one of them, they're like, we're top this in like academics. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm sure you're fine, but you're not like. You're not Duke or like Vanderbilt. What are you talking about?
I know.
Yeah.
I
As
know.
far as
all
I'm
say that.
concerned, every school in the SEC is basically the same.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're all
right?
the same.
No,
Yeah.
I honestly think
Well,
Georgia's a lot better than the rest of
But
them.
do you think that's because you're biased? I think Georgia is better, but I think
Go
I
to
feel
the
like I may be
towns.
biased.
Athens is such a better town than
Oh, like places to
Gainesville?
live.
No,
Oh,
the
yeah.
town. Yeah, I love the town, but do
I
you
mean,
think
all the
the
towns are all just
universities?
Small town
I'm sure that,
party
no, the
places.
universities are all like the same level as far as like schooling or whatever. But if we're talking like quality of life, I would live in Athens for 1,000 lifetimes before I lived 1 year in Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah.
What about Gainesville, Florida?
No.
Oh,
Are you kidding me?
What is it? It's not the Plains, right? It's the
Gainesville, Florida.
Everglades?
Auburn, wherever Auburn is.
Oh.
It's not Auburn, is it?
Yeah, it's
What do you
Auburn,
mean?
Alabama.
Yeah, it's Auburn, Alabama.
There's another like town that's next to it that's like
Opelika.
yeah, like that's the worst. It's not even close.
What is Opelika?
Opelika is the
Auburn's
town over.
campus is the most boring, horrible campus
It
you've
is.
ever been to in your entire
Yeah,
life.
it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, Foy.
Yeah.
If you're listening.
It's
Auburn.
far and away the worst.
Gainesville, College Station, Texas, where Texas A&M is.
Oh yeah. Also, Texas A&M
Tuscaloosa?
is weird.
Tuscaloosa?
Cool-ish.
No,
I've
Tuscaloosa
never
is
been to
not that.
Tuscaloosa.
No, it's nothing. There's nothing
I mean-
there. You know what
I mean, we are-
Tuscaloosa is? Tuscaloosa reminds me of like a smaller industrial Midwest town, like Pittsburgh. If it were smaller, that's Tuscaloosa.
Dude, have you
You
been
might be thinking
to-
UAB, like Birmingham.
I've never been to UAB.
Birmingham's
You wanna know
sneaky,
the
not a bad place.
the saddest town I've seen a major college, like a major college in, is wherever Texas Tech is. I think Lubbock, Texas.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I drove through it one
Did you?
time.
I've never been there.
I felt like it was in the movie No Country for Old Men.
Well, that's how most of
like,
Texas is.
Not even kidding.
all the non like UT.
Well, UT's not.
like,
UT's in the middle of Austin. That's like
Yeah,
the sickest
like-
place ever.
outside of UT Austin and like anything like what's the SMU like in Dallas, like outside of
Mhm.
those, all the ones everyone I know like Lawson and Andre, they always talk about all these random schools like Texas A&M. They're like those towns, Baylor, they're like the worst places on earth, and they're the middle of nowhere,
Oh,
Oh,
2
yeah.
hours away from anything, and it's like
What a-
awful.
What about Navarro Community College?
Oh, is that the
Yeah.
cheerleading school?
The cheerleading
is it from the
school.
Cheer show?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yours, dude.
Oh,
That
my God.
have
That
you
place
seen
looks
that?
horrid?
That campus is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they
You
put
don't
this
I don't
say.
with-
know.
There's
There's nothing
absolutely nothing around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. But I think if
Oh.
you had to rank the SEC schools, I think Georgia would be number one. That's not biased.
Just In terms of just the nicest of the town, or what?
I think the whole like the university, the town, the nightlife.
I mean, like Vanderbilt's in Nashville. They're pretty good academically.
F
Yeah, but-
Vanderbilt. After this
No.
whole redundant thing,
No,
Vanderbilt
yeah,
can-
no.
I forgot that happened there.
No more
All right.
Vanderbilt talk. Can't
Good point,
praise
yeah.
Vanderbilt.
They're
I
canceled
commented
from
on
our
your YouTube
podcast.
video, F Vanderbilt and F this lawyer. Did you delete it?
You did? Oh
Yeah.
no, it probably YouTube doesn't allow comments like that, so I don't even see them.
Jim, that's
But
aggressive.
I just said F.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, it's too
Sometimes
aggressive. Jim.
sometimes it doesn't even show those
Sure.
comments.
Cancel.
Or they hold them for a review, and I'm supposed to review them, but I can't review all the comments too much.
Yeah. So this
Obviously.
guy has so many comments
So-
on his videos.
Well, I've done like 200 videos now. The comments just keep going. So Georgia's number 1. What do you think is number 2?
This is not biased.
Number 2 is like colleges out in like the Mountain West.
No, I'm
area,
talking-
like Colorado
SEC.
State.
SEC.
SEC only. Jim, pull up the SEC schools.
It's not Mississippi State.
It's not Arkansas for sure.
University of
Yeah.
Tennessee. I guess Knoxville is like
What
not
about
horrible.
what about Missouri?
That probably sucks.
No. Are you kidding me?
I was joking.
It's not even in like the Kansas City. or
So
anything.
basically, we're stuck between like the big schools like South Carolina. No.
Oh, I know what
Oh,
number
no.
2 is.
what?
I know what number 2 is. It's LSU.
Oh yeah, I would do LSU.
Baton Rouge
LSU 's-
has
yeah.
something special.
Baton Rouge at least has like a unique cultural flavor to it,
True,
Yeah.
true.
you know, and you're like 1 hour from New Orleans and you can go party and go crazy and stuff.
Yeah,
And, like,
Baton
their
Rouge
games
The
is
rest of the
legit.
schools,
awesome.
the rest of the schools have nothing but just Southern redneck
I'm
culture.
trying to think of like other.
The
let's
rest of
see,
the schools are all the
Tennessee,
same. Alabama and Auburn are the same. Tennessee's
Kentucky.
kind of the same. Kentucky,
Oh,
we were just up
Tennessee.
Knoxville's like at least you're in the mountains.
there. What mountain?
I mean, like the Appalachians.
Oh, in
Yeah.
Knoxville. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Kentucky.
No.
Um,
Oh yeah, Kentucky's garbage.
But I was in Kentucky recently, and it's not. I mean, we went out in Kentucky, in October or whatever, when Wes and Lauren got married,
Oh
and the downtown is nothing compared to Georgia. Like it's
Yeah.
just no,
Oh, yeah.
there's no comparison.
yeah.
Like
what
literally
is-
no comparison.
What other we got?
That's where the best
Alabama.
whiskey and bourbon's made, though.
That's true. That sure
Uh,
is true.
There's still Arkansas sucks. Yeah, Mississippi's all suck.
I had an intern thinking
Louisiana, I
about
guess
going
LSU.
to University of Mississippi and what is it, Jackson or Oxford, something like that.
Yeah, Jackson.
Think,
Uh,
is it
Oh,
it's
Jack?
Oxford.
And
It's
she was like,
Oxford,
"What do you?"
right?
She was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah." She was like, "Would you like what do you think about like Mississippi?" I go, "I wouldn't live there if you paid me $800,000 a year."
I would
Yeah.
No, you
Well, that's-
wouldn't.
for a year.
No,
I'd
you
do it for a
wouldn't.
year in
Wait, for a-
Oxford, Mississippi.
For
You gotta
one
realize-
You
year?
wouldn't.
I actually
Yeah.
don't mind these like small southern towns. Like I feel like I do.
Yes, you
I've-
do.
I've lived in these small
You
southern
just
towns.
want this to be part of your personality that people know, but it's really not true. Like you could never
No.
live there in a million fucking
No,
years.
it's
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
I also, when I go to these places, for some reason, like the last time when we were in Georgia,
Also,
in-
well, you
I don't know. I can't live there forever, but like to visit and hang out for a little bit, I actually don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind like a weekend, but the thing is, you can hit the tens out of tens on one weekend, and
Yeah,
that's just
true.
the entire like good part of the city. And it's
True.
like, well, if you stay there for 2 weekends, there's nothing else to do now.
Yeah, true. So wait, I never finished my story, by the way.
Oh yeah, go
And then we
back
can
to
get into our weekend.
go back to your stupid story.
Yeah, sorry. Basically, so we would have these coaches come up to our swim practices, watch us swim at practice, and then they would follow us home essentially, and we would have dinner together, talk about the university and blah blah blah, and be like, "Oh, we really think your son's a good fit there," blah blah. And then Dad would be like, "That's too expensive to go there. We need more scholarship." They'd be like, I remember the coach of like Indiana was like, it was so out of our price range. She was like,
because out of state's tuition.
yeah, he was like,
You mean it was greater than $0?
they wanted to give me like an 80% scholarship, and Dad was like, okay, so how much is like, I think the tuition was almost like 40 grand, and Dad's like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
And he's like,
That's-
plus like,
that's-
and then I was like, then I would just never come home. Nobody would ever visit me because nobody could afford flights. I couldn't afford flights. I
Right.
would just be stuck there by myself.
right, it's an extra $5,000 that you guys have to cover a year. They're like, can't do that either.
Yeah. Like, well, you're on your own.
Yeah, okay.
That coach was so nice. I forgot his name. I think Ray Luz or something. But so I went on recruiting trips at Georgia, Florida, Auburn, and Indiana.
Oh, you went to Florida too?
Yeah. Florida
know
was
that.
probably the best. Florida was like sneaky the best recruiting trip ever.
Was Ryan Lochte there?
He was a year ahead of me.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, he
yes,
was there.
He was there.
Yeah. He was there on the recruiting trip. So I didn't want to go to Florida, and I basically used Florida as like just a weekend because you spend the whole weekend there and all expenses paid for. You're 18 in college, and you get to like go out and have fun with college kids for the weekend, and they get to like show you a good time.
Yeah.
So obviously I would go on these trips regardless if you wanted to go or not. And sometimes you'd be surprised if you liked it or not. So I went to Florida, and for some reason they like didn't have the housing fixed or set up properly. So there was like 10 of us recruits. I was with my best friend Brian Lundquist at the time. I was with another girl, Rachel Miko, who I swam with at Georgia in Atlanta. I think you know her, Tommy.
Yeah,
And
vaguely.
yeah, and a few other people who we know around the area because, like, it's Southeast Conference. You know all the swimmers who you swim with your whole life. And they messed up the room arrangement, so they just put us all in hotel rooms. So like me and Brian had a hotel room. The next door was us was like Rachel and one of the other girls who was up there we were friends with. Like the next room over was two other of our friends. So like they just gave 18-year-olds hotel rooms
free hotel room
by themselves with just like no rules or like nothing.
No supervision.
No supervision. So like it kind of backfired because we just ended up just all partying and hanging out with each other. Like we'd be like, yeah, I know this is a recruiter trip and all, but like we really just want to go back to the hotel and hang out.
Yeah.
So we like go out. We went out with them and stuff, but like we were excited to like go back to the hotel because that was like our first time being really like free as an 18-year-old.
I mean, dude, that's like the dream as a senior in high
stay
school.
Up as late as you want, your own hotel room. Like what?
Literally, they just treat you like
With
you're
your
in
friends?
college, but you're still in high school. Yeah, you do anything.
So back to I keep getting
Did you guys drink alcohol?
no anti-alcohol. So I didn't want to go to. So the recruiting trip I went to after the coach came to visit me. So when the coach came to visit me, I didn't want to go there, and I was like 18. I had my Jeep, and I was like trying to like lose the coach that was following me.
Are you serious?
This is so embarrassing now. But I remember I was like,
that's the most immature high school thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Oh my God.
I was like, I didn't want to do like this. I was tired. I'm like, I gotta do this whole song and dance.
As if he's just gonna be like, I guess I'll go home now.
And he was like, because we lived like 20 minutes from the aquatic center. So I was like, I wasn't like trying to intentionally lose him, but I was definitely like bobbing and weaving, like driving a little faster than usual. And then I remember we got home and he was like,
That's the most high school Michael thing I've literally ever heard in my entire Jim. How Michael in high school is that?
Did you drive down there in your Jeep?
Yeah. No, this is in Atlanta.
For those listening, this is a lifted Jeep that's got like two 12-inch subwoofers in it. It's a monster Jeep that I'm sure he was
so
just
high
pushing
school.
the metal. Oh God, so high school. A
And,
Flowmaster on it.
Yep. So he was like bobbing and weaving with me trying to queue up because this was before cell phones. Like he has no idea how to get to my house.
It's pre-GPS.
He has if he gets lost, that's it.
He's gonna stop and ask for directions.
So he finally got to my house. He's like, "Hey, you drive kind of fast." And I was like, "Oh man, I was such a piece of freaking."
Which coach was that again?
That was Nesty, I believe, who was the coach. He was an Olympian. Super nice guy.
Coach, right?
Super nice guy. But I just like didn't want to go to Florida, and I felt like I was wasting my time. So I was being like immature high schooler. But I feel really bad.
You would do.
He was the assistant coach.
He's the nicest guy ever, man. Nicest guy. He was fast too. Pull him up, Jim.
Because that's who Jared swam for. For the record, also Jared swam for Florida.
Yeah,
actually.
No, he didn't. He was.
Yeah, he did. Anthony Nesty.
Yeah.
Pull him up. So he was a legit swimmer. I forgot who he went to the Olympics. I don't know what team he was on. I don't know if he was swimming for the USA or his home country. I can't remember, but super nice guy. Very cool coach. Very nice guy. And I feel bad. But I wonder if he like actually knew what I was doing, or if he was just, or maybe he watched this podcast now. No, because I know some of our old swim coaches watch the podcast.
Do they
which I think
really?
is
Really? Who?
Yeah. Shout out Ian.
Ian watches the
Does
podcast.
Ian watch it?
Shout out Ian, the best coach of all time.
Ian was
And,
the best coach of all time.
Alex, one of my coaches from Georgia.
God, that's so funny. Ian was the best coach ever.
And, yeah, Nesty. See,
He got
He was a-
1988 Olympics.
he was a boss.
He won the gold.
Did he?
You won the gold?
I guess.
Yeah, he swam
in
for
eight-
Suriname. That's right. Yeah. That's who it was. I guess so.
No, we didn't.
It says gold.
Look it up. Look it up.
Yeah, dude,
was like
Matt
the-
Biondi won that year.
Yeah, the 100 free, not the
88?
100 fly.
100-meter butterfly. 100. Yeah. Butterfly. Let's see here. Who won
See.
the 100-meter butterfly? Pablo Morales.
Anthony.
Well,
Nessie.
look at that, man.
Yeah, take that, Jim,
Suriname.
you idiot.
Yeah. So see.
This is the heats, the 8 fastest times. Yeah,
So
that's the heats.
Anthony
believe-
Nesty won.
Damn,
Gold
that's
medalist.
crazy. I would have never
Was at
guessed
my
that.
house. Yeah.
Andy
He
James
won it
and
for
Matt-
Suriname, which is like a legit big deal. So
53
Again-
flat. What is the what's the world record now, or like what won the Olympics now in the 100 fly? Because he won a 53 flat and it was an Olympic record.
who knows now? Now it's just insane.
Yeah, that's ooh
You
beyond.
beat Matt Biondi by
But
1/100th of a
Oh
second.
my
Ooh.
god! Look at that.
What
I
a
thought Matt Biondi would did all this stuff.
Well, he almost
won,
did.
like the 100 free. He didn't win as much as you think he did. It's just that he was the only good American swimmer until Phelps came along.
Yeah, that's
he was
true.
born in Trinidad and
Um,
Tobago and swam for Suriname.
That's crazy. And this guy was the guy you were trying to lose driving down.
I wasn't like trying to lose him, but you know how like when you're in high school,
This
you
guy
like, try
wins
to
a
like
gold medal,
impress.
and he's got some punk teenager trying to
I
lose him on a
know.
recruiting trip. Guy wins a gold medal representing Suriname and beats Matt Biondi, who is the Phelps of the 80s.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
he's driving down I-75, and Michael's trying to lose him in a
Get
Jeep.
lost.
I was such a piece of garbage.
Ah, God,
Such a
yeah,
piece of garbage.
you were a piece of garbage in high school.
I know, still am.
Yeah. Still made it.
So that was that. That was the story. I don't know what was wrong with it. The other recruiting trips, I loved my Indiana recruiting trip. God, I loved it there. It was so cool. Like we
It was
went
just
to
too
like
expensive, right?
yeah, it's too expensive. It's a little far away from home for me. And like I said, I don't know how I would get back and forth. You know,
You probably wouldn't have liked actually living in Indiana though. It's kind of garbage.
really. The town was cool. It was a cool
Yeah.
vibe. And the guys I were with are cool. And we went and saw an Indiana basketball game. That was cool.
Yeah.
And yeah. But Auburn was cool too. I had a lot of fun at Auburn.
Ugh.
I know. But Georgia, nothing beat Georgia. Georgia was
Yeah.
like the best.
Cameron has the best. I mean, you can't be told on a podcast, but Cameron has the best Georgia recruiting trip story ever, and he tells
I
it.
don't know if I
only
know
way-
it.
Only the way Cameron can tell it too. Yeah, and it was like the most ridiculous recruiting trip stories of all time. But
Oh, I
Cameron's
can
like,
imagine.
he's like, I have to come here.
Yeah, I can imagine. And you think about that. So think about how crazy our recruiting trips were for swimming, and just imagine what they are for like football.
I
I
can't
can't
imagine.
even. I can't.
I don't even
a
wanna
football
know.
recruiting trip.
Especially
it's-
now.
You're
you know?
taking 18-year-old kids. You're taking 19-year-olds, and they're responsible for 18-year-olds to like as if there's some huge maturity like
Yeah.
change in the
Yeah,
that
the
one
19-year-olds are now the father figure taking care
Yeah,
of the
they're like,
18-year-olds.
It's your responsibility to take care of this child, and it's like they're 9 months apart, and
Yeah.
they're also children.
Not to mention the team just gives you money to spend.
Yeah,
Like we would always host. So the other thing too is we would always host recruits because you got paid. You got paid like $150 a night.
wouldn't you like
By the
not spend
team.
money on the recruits?
Yeah. You get like $150 cash each night. You're hosting a recruit and you would, eat nothing.
Pocket it.
Yeah. Spend
eat-
like 80 and pocket 80.
Yeah, like eat peanut butter jelly. They're like, spend whatever you need up to the 150
Yeah.
cap. You're like, absolutely not. We're eating
mean, there's
peanut butter
no-
jelly.
I wonder if it's changed now. I mean, that was, 15 years ago and nobody really cared about anything.
I
But
know
now they
there's,
probably like checked into, well, it's probably all like credit card and stuff now,
yeah,
There's-
that's probably
There's
true.
there's no cash.
Yeah,
we used to
no
still,
one's-
we used to get cash too when we would go on meets like the NCAAs and stuff. They would just give us like $60 a day cash.
Did you ever
just
get paid to
hand out
like
envelopes.
swim or have any sort of like, what do they call it? The not sponsor, not recruiter.
NIL. Like that stuff?
What's that?
No, who are
Name-
the guys that like basically just donate money to colleges and they're super rich?
The boosters?
Oh, yeah.
Booster. Did you ever have a booster approach you or anybody weird that like?
Mm.
You think a booster is donating for swimming, Jim?
No,
Yeah,
but
they
I just
do.
wanted to make sure.
No, they do.
Who?
People love the sports.
Like,
They
I
have
bet,
big
I bet you
numbers.
anything Ryan Lochte got money.
Probably.
Yeah,
Guys
probably.
that are
not.
like big.
Allegedly.
what if-
He
Michael, what if
allegedly
they
got
ask
money.
you and they're like, "We need a new pool, Michael? Can you donate?"
Yeah, right. Like you
Under
better
no
find someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, sorry, I can't. My hands are tied. My
Yeah.
hands are tied.
What if Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine asked you to donate? Would you donate?
They
Nope.
do.
Yeah, they do. They do
Yeah.
every like year. They ask me to donate. I'm
Yeah,
like, no.
every
I'm like,
six.
how about I
much do
pay
have
off
to
my?
give you?
How about I pay off my debt first?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm pretty sure
Was-
I give you 80 grand a year just to survive here. They're like, yeah, not enough. We
Yeah.
need more.
Was $400,000 at 5% interest not enough?
Yeah.
Nope. Now
I'm
they
like,
want you to
don't you
give,
want? It's ridiculous.
like give back to the med school. I'm like, no,
Like,
you
we
give back to me.
We pay. Yeah, we pay to go here. That's what our like offering was. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I
We
paid
made a
enough.
transaction. It's so ridiculous.
So yeah, that was the story. I mean, yeah, I can't even imagine some of the football, basketball teams who are making. I mean, these universities are making so
Oh,
much money with these sports teams, the apparels, the licensing fees. I mean, they're not. Are they paying them now because it's
Yeah.
illegal now?
yeah,
But they weren't paying these athletes. I mean, the football teams were making millions and
Oh, yeah.
millions.
Georgia football
dollars.
team. I mean, they just won the national championship this year. I'm sure they made a pretty penny off of that.
Yeah. How much do they make that public data? Like it can't be public, right? Jim, is that public?
It probably should. I mean, it's a public university. It should be public. That
It
they
should be
tell
public.
you how much
like
they
the
make off of
actual. Yeah, let me see if I can find something. I mean, they should make something, right?
it. Yeah.
University.
I mean, especially now with the
Georgia.
NIL deals, dude. I bet they can just give any amount of money to these recruiting trips. Be like, here's a couple grand. They're like, sure, thanks.
Well, let's see. I mean, if this number is true, this is so absurd. Wait, hold on. This is 2020. It says the University of Georgia Athletic Department ranks 5th nationally in the most revenue generated in the most recent pre-pandemic compilation at $174 million.
Oh my god.
That's in 2020 before the national championship. So that I guarantee they made well over $200 million in a
That's
year.
insane. I mean, that's truly unreal.
That's just the athletic department.
College football value rankings. The University of Texas, the value of the University of Texas football team was $1.1 billion in 2018.
But on the might have been 2021. I don't know, but the total revenue from UGA on their financial report was 479 million.
Oh my god.
I mean, that's insane.
That's absolutely absurd.
I know. That is absolutely crazy. Jim, what do you
Wait,
are
how
you
much did it cost to go to PCOM?
Jim, what do you write a book over there?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're doing a podcast.
Yeah, what are you
FYI.
doing your taxes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Dad's like, excuse me.
Yeah.
I
told
got a new mortgage in the mail. I got to check on it.
Oh,
God.
good time for that.
Yeah, perfect.
What did you guys do today at work?
I was on CT. I read about 40 plus CTs.
What was the strangest CT that you read?
I had a really good case today. Classic.
Oh, yeah.
What was her name, age, citizen, history?
MRN.
The diagnosis.
Did you give
Was-
her a Victoronian?
God, too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon?
We stand
Um,
with Redondavat.
The
You stand with
diagnosis.
Redondavat.
The diagnosis
What was the
re-
victim's name in that case?
Charlene Murphy. What were we talking
Sorry,
about?
go ahead.
Your diagnosis thing. Yes.
Oh, so I won't give the exact diagnosis, but I will give. No, I can't. I can't think of a similar diagnosis to
Was it an X-ray?
CT.
CT. Yeah, that's right. You saw that.
Yeah, but it had good imaging findings. It was fantastic.
That's good.
Classic case, and yeah, that was that.
I missed that.
And we're back. And we're
Yeah,
back.
we're
and
back.
back.
Jim's trying to ruin it as usual.
Yeah.
Tommy, in all seriousness though, Tommy, what did you do? Let's say the last week, what did you do at work? Anything
It's just been actually
anything
on
that the public should know or could know that wouldn't ruin your career?
No, I've just been on a breast imaging rotation. So today I just read a bunch of
Oh,
screeners, and that was about it. And
How is-
it
So what does
seems
that
like
mean? Reading screeners.
screening for like screening mammography is basically so once you turn 40 years old, you start getting annual screening mammography, or you don't
Okay.
have to, but it's recommended to start getting screeners. So it was just way you get to screen people. It's like screening exam, like any other screening exam. See if there's anything that needs to be further evaluated. We use ultrasound, mammography, tomosynthesis, MRI, stuff like that. But it's just the initial baseline thing that's saying, is there something we should look at, or are you okay to come back next year and go from there? So today I was
Okay.
just on a screening rotation, just read a bunch of those, and it seemed like every single one of them had about multiple the BI-RADS lexicon is asymmetries. So when you're looking at an X-ray of a breast, you can't really say there's like a nodule or something like that. It's all there's terminology they use, and it's all this
Right.
structured reporting to keep everything uniform. And it's like
which is
every
why
single.
I hated breast imaging.
I'll say I kind of like it. That's why I like TIRADS and stuff for thyroid nodules, because I'm like
I don't
like
mind that.
I like the structure of everything.
I hated so there's a specific lexicon you have to use while dictating breast
Don't you
imaging
dare go
studies.
outside that lexicon.
You can literally only say certain words, like you can only describe like a mass as like round or ill-defined,
yeah.
or what, or is it irregular? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, regular. I guess
But,
on the
like,
margin. But
And why is
no.
that?
it's just
Is
it's
it
a
like
way to like
ophthalmology where they have their own language?
it's kind of like that. It's like separate from other parts of radiology where it's like you want a specific like term because the uniformity of it helps like increase the sensitivity of screening. And so everyone knows what you're talking about across like everyone in the country. So the like Society of Breast Imaging, they like or ACR will update their BI-RADS lexicon and be like, this is what you need to use, because you get these older physicians and it's like they learn how to do this back in the early 90s 30 years ago, and they say these words and people are like, what the hell does that even mean? And so you want it, the structure is provided to say like certain words basically are like, I think this is more malignant than something else, or it's like this is more benign, and the structured wording leads you into that thing. And so it's a good way to be like, someone says irregular, spiculated, like angular margins, like shadowing, tolerant, like stuff like that on like an ultrasound or whatever. It's like, oh, they're implying that this is malignant before they biopsy it. It's like
Right.
they think it looks like a cancer and we should like go forward with this.
Yeah, even like the breast surgeons know what it is. The
Yeah.
oncologist, everybody knows the lexicon.
Yeah.
So, Michael, does this just bore you to death as far as like a
Yeah.
subspecialty of radiology?
Yeah, I love the procedure aspect of it because the breast imagers do a lot of procedures, like a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
they do every breast biopsy. They do the ultrasound guided breast biopsies. They do needle
Stereotactic,
localization, stereotactic biopsies. Like they do a lot of stuff,
Savvy scouts,
Really?
MRI
Yeah.
guided biopsies,
all
all
that
that kind of
stuff. The reason I didn't like it is because I hated that I was like forced into say and describe things a certain way. I feel like I was like my hands were tied. Like I want to like free dictate how I want to dictate and be like, there is a blah 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 mass, blah blah blah. Like I don't know. I like to just dictate my own way versus like I don't know. I didn't like it.
See, I like
Yeah.
that's how I do the same thing with like CTs. I just like free dictate. I just like I don't try to structure anything when I'm dictating, but I keep it like organized. But for some reason, breast imaging, I think it's just because it's like an outpatient. It's like you have almost like you're seeing patients regularly. Then it's like, oh, you'll do a biopsy here. And then it's like diagnostic. And it's like you actually get to work through something instead of like some referring like GI specialist being like, oh, I'm going to order 30,000 things and you have no say in whatever happens like to this order. And it's like what I say results in what I want to happen next.
That
basically.
is true. You do like the breast imagers control all of breast imaging and everything that goes with it. Like
I
literally
create the
everything.
clinical follow-up for the patient. So it's like any imaging follow-up is something that I've recommended or it's through BI-RADS. So it's if I say this nodule needs to look at and we need to take an ultrasound to it, it's like we go to ultrasound as opposed to just like, let's hope someone else that doesn't really understand this as well picks an appropriate pathway for this.
The other thing I didn't like about it was like during the screeners, you're limited to how many callbacks you have.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying.
So like Jim, you have to have like a 3 to 10% callback rate, which is like you can't have any more than that. Isn't that
Yeah,
right?
that's
3 to
like
10%, 3 to 7% or something?
I always get like it's like 4 to 7, 4 to 10, somewhere in that.
Something
Yeah.
like that. So if you read 100
I
screeners,
always MQSA.
yeah, you can only call back 4 to 7 of them.
So that is kind of annoying where you have to consciously be like, do I want to call it? But at the same time, it helps you to be like, you're looking at Tomo and you're like, it kind of looks like tissue. And it's like normally if you could just fire off and be like, sure, bring them back for diagnostic. It's like, I don't need to bring this back. Like they'll be okay.
Yeah. I mean, but then
Makes you like forces you to be competent in what you're doing, which is kind of like a good part of it.
yeah, but I wish I don't know. I didn't like it because again, I felt like it was like forcing me into something that I didn't want to do. Like if I want to call someone back, but then I'm like in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I already called back to a couple of people. I can't call back anymore, you know?
Yeah, I understand. I think that's
So-
that goes away is like because none of the attendings that I work with that ever even remotely like seem like they think about that too frequently.
The other thing I disliked about breast imaging was that you had to constantly get a chaperone to go into every room.
Yeah, I guess
Like the
that's
same
true.
in an OBGYN specialty, like any sort of women's health specialty, you always have to have a chaperone as a male provider,
Yeah,
male
that's right.
physician.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of annoying because like you would go in and ask to get a chaperone, and then like they would always roll their eyes, like, you know.
Well, I
it's
don't think
just-
that happens as like an attending or like you're a fellow because no one's
Yeah,
gonna
well,
be like,
as a resident, they would roll their eyes and be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, here's this stupid
Yeah.
male resident who needs me to be a chaperone." Like no one liked it, and I've always felt like I was a burden on everybody for like asking for a chaperone. I'm like, guys, like this is. Can you just do
Please.
this for me, please?
Yeah, I'm just trying to do my job, please.
It's just another reason why residency is so annoying, you know.
That's purely those are all just resident problems though. It's like no one's gonna be like, oh, my attending wants me to chaperone. Like they know like I need to be like another like a female provider needs to be in there when you do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
That
yeah.
was
What
that was
what in you guys' opinion is the most unnecessary, like we just do this because residents always did this sort of thing, like part of your workflow as residents?
Mm.
Like what is something that you have to do that there's really no reason you have to do it? It's just because you're a resident.
I'm sure there's something. I feel like it's
there's a lot of
department
stupid
dependent.
things you have to do for residency, like a lot of requirements, like annual reviews, and like write down your like I don't know what is it like, we used to have to do this like every year. You would like write down answer questions or like submit a survey about your program, but like obviously no one's going to talk bad about their program to this survey even though it's anonymous,
Yeah.
because like you don't want your program to look bad and you don't want anything to happen to your program because that's on your resume. So it's like it's
Right.
Oh,
so
you went there?
yeah, like you don't wanna be like, oh, this place sucks, because then like you
Everyone's
went to a
like-
place that sucks. And then it's on your resume and they're
Right.
like, oh, Michael went to this place that
Yeah.
sucks. I saw
Michael
the
trained at a crap place and now he's got I don't trust him at all.
and then if you speak poorly about it, then they'll like put you under review, and then like you may not get residence the next year, which means it's just more work for you. And it's just like
Yeah.
it's completely I don't know.
Right.
You know.
I would think I mean, there's nothing really like that's outside the scope of like what a radiologist is supposed to do. There's a lot of stuff that like residents have to do and like attendings just never have to do it, but that's just a byproduct of like they're like, I don't want to do this part. So it's like I guess you got to do it. Like giving rectal contrast for like a CT scan or something like that.
That's
It's
stuff
like,
too.
Oh god, it's the biggest pain.
You know what,
Literally
one of
in your
my-
ass.
Yep.
You know what one of my
Pain in your ass.
Yes, a pain in everyone's ass. But
You know,
it's-
someone we were interviewing for a position at our practice, he was telling me that in residency, when they were looking for appendicitis, the resident always had to give a rectal contrast.
what?
Do you believe that?
Dude, I would give rectal I would only do rectal contrast.
I
on
think it
a
was at,
call
like,
weekend.
I want to say it was at like Penn or something.
I mean, how would you have the time to read anything? if
It
you're
also
giving rectal
doesn't
contrast?
matter.
Yeah. What
Imagine giving rectal contrast to every single person that came in the ER with rule out appendicitis. I mean, you'd be giving rectal contrast all night.
you would literally there would be like half a dozen every hour, and you'd be giving rectal. You'd have to have someone on call just to give rectal contrast.
Also, like that's so academic because you don't need rectal contrast to diagnose appendicitis at all.
You don't.
In
need
fact,
to-
I would
Can you
argue that
explain for the people at home what you mean.
I
and
really
why you
don't
need
know.
it.
So I guess what they're trying to prove is that no intraluminal contrast gets into the appendix because, like by definition, if there's contrast within the appendix, that means it's not inflamed, it's not obstructed.
No.
But on CT scan, the appendix looks like it's obvious when there's appendicitis. Like the appendix looks like garbage.
There's a bunch of fat stranding and everything in the
There's
corner. It looks grungy and
inflammation, maybe
Yeah.
a obstruction. Like it's obvious. So you don't need oral contrast or rectal contrast to get through to diagnose appendicitis.
Yep, there's the appendix.
And for those of you who don't know, the appendix is an appendage that is a vestigial structure that we do not need anymore.
It's what used to be the cecum.
Did it used
I'm
to be?
pretty sure, right?
No,
Is
I
that-
mean
is
the
that what
cecum is above it.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I think it used to be. Don't cows have it or something, Jim? I forgot what the.
yeah.
They use it to digest. Like, it has a function in like large animals. I think.
Yeah, a horse cecum is like unbelievably large. Like that's number 11 right there is the cecum, I'm pretty sure.
Dude, I bet that is so big.
I remember. So Jim used to do a
But this is
necropsy lab.
their descending colon, and this turns into the cecum right there.
This is
Okay.
huge.
I mean, it's huge.
I remember when Jim did necropsy lab in vet school, and I went there one time with you, and you guys had a horse's
Yeah.
intestines laying on the table, and
Yeah.
they were so big.
Just some gigantic.
Like the horse's intestines were just like
Yeah,
just like,
It's like-
the size of me.
yeah. Like you like hold them up with your hand, and it would be like you would be holding them up like this, and then like draped behind you,
Yeah.
Oh
like
my
all the way
God.
down to the ground. You'd be dragging them.
Is there a picture? Find a picture of a horse intestines.
Yeah,
Because I feel like it was so big and you can't really get a feel for it until you see it. But it was enormous.
It's like a Doctor Strange's cloak that he carries.
yeah, almost the same thing, Tommy.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I watched Spider-Man No Way Home on the way back
Yeah,
from Georgia.
I did
so,
too.
Yeah.
I did too.
I did
Kate was
not.
like, I only had headphones that plugged in. I use these actually to plug them into the thing. She was like, "Do you not want to watch it together?" I was like, "Well, I already started, so I guess you're out of luck."
Wouldn't
Do you-
would
wait,
say that. Do you want
do
to
you ever-
watch it together?
Do you ever watch movies together on the airplane?
We do all the time.
Yeah.
we
okay,
start 'em
good.
up, we time them up at the same
Yeah, you're
time.
two-
So it's,
Yeah.
it's
We
in the
do
time
that. We
tape,
do
yeah.
that too. And then I like pause it to make sure we're on the same spot
Yeah. Or you got to go to the
Yeah.
bathroom and you're like,
all the time.
Yeah.
Jim
I was too busy with B screaming for 30 minutes, and then she fell asleep.
Doesn't she
does
get? She gets her own
Unbelievable.
seat now. No,
She did. Yeah.
she
did?
did.
Sorry, I'm trying to find a picture of the horse intestine. Here we go.
Hey, multitasker extraordinaire over there.
Yeah. Jim's like, I got home from work and I'm podcasting.
Holy,
Oh my God.
see, Look how
Dude,
big those
what?
things are.
That's the colon. That's that band. I forget the name of it. There's a band of connective tissue that runs down the colon.
The tinea coli.
Yeah, something like
Something
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
forgot
gives
the
you an
name of it, too.
idea.
Is that a horse?
Yeah, that's the horse.
Yeah. See, I mean, that thing is enormous. How do you get a staple across that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just to be like,
Tinea coli. Ooh, nailed it.
hey,
I was a lab TA for anatomy lab in my second year of med school. No big deal.
nerd alert.
Yeah. Nerd alert.
So that was that. We never even finished. We went to Georgia this weekend. We didn't even say. We didn't even talk about that. So we went to
No,
Georgia. This
We
is
got
the first
sidetracked
time-
by many things.
Yeah, this is the first time in probably it was pre-pandemic, or maybe even longer, maybe like 2018 or 2019. We went to Georgia, and all 6 of us went down, meaning us 3 plus our wives and girlfriends. And plus B this time, our little niece. That was her first time in
Well,
Georgia.
Beatrice.
Old B.
And we basically hung out from Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and had a great time. But
Yeah.
Jim, would you like to share about our rental car experience when we first landed in Atlanta Airport?
Yeah, the moral of this story is that never use Avis ever again.
If only this podcast could reach out to the masses and explain.
Yeah, so
to
we
them.
basically we got there and quickly determined that Avis is the worst company in America.
Yeah.
They have the worst employee structure in America, the worst workflow. They have the worst customer service, and it's like them and Theranos is like the worst company in America.
What is Theranos?
Is
So
that fake company that
it's Theranos,
was just
right?
in the news?
Therapy and something, right?
This I
Yeah.
don't know if you can see this. This was the line as we were leaving, which was very similar. When we dropped the rental car off, this was the line.
Yeah. So
God.
we waited in line
So
for a rental
almost
car for 3.5
identical.
hours after we had a reservation, and then we get to the line, or we get to our the desk, and they said, if you want a car, now you have to give us an extra $20 a day. Otherwise, you have to keep waiting for an undetermined amount of time until there is a car available.
I mean, what?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I don't get the extra.
And that's when I understood why people freak out in public and create viral videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Jim almost did it. That's why.
Jim didn't do anything. Jim was sitting on the floor playing with B the whole time. And
Yeah.
John and I were waiting in line the entire time.
The inefficiency of that is Michael's absolute hell.
About 20 minutes of that was Beatrice eating a Chick-fil-A biscuit.
Ooh,
Yeah.
doesn't sound so bad.
So we got down there. Everybody in that line I just showed you, we all had reservations, by the way. All reservations. These weren't just people coming up and getting a car. We all had
this
reservations.
is the worst company in America. I'm telling you.
I don't get how you have a reservation. They're like, yeah, there's no cars. And like,
This is the Spirit era of rental cars. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it's probably worse than that.
I guess so. I don't know. I didn't know anything about Avis. There was one across the street from me in Manhattan, so I used to always use them. But I mean, this one is just awful.
I mean, I left. So you guys, what time did you land? Landed like 8:30, right?
We landed at 9:20. No, 8:50. 8:50 we landed. AM.
So you landed at 8:50. My flight took off from Chicago at 8:30, which is 9:30 Georgia time. So you guys landed before I even took off. And by the time I landed and I landed, opened up my phone, was going to the rental car to get my rental car.
From Enterprise?
Yeah, from Enterprise. You guys are like,
Good
we're still in
company.
line. Yeah, Enterprise.
Enterprise is a solid company.
Shout out Enterprise.
Yeah,
Shout out-
always use
Shout out
Enterprise. All my med school interviews and like residency interviews and stuff like that, I use Enterprise for all the trips
Same.
and everything.
I did too,
And it
actually.
was
too.
never
too.
a problem. They always have a car. Somehow I always get a nicer car than
Fantastic
what I
company.
pay for. Yeah, they do a wonderful job. You gotta
Yeah,
give
they
them
do.
credit. So I get to the rental car place about 5 minutes after them. It takes
Not a
me about-
sponsor.
Yeah, not a sponsor, just like them. I got through the line within 5 minutes. The ladies at the front counter were about as quick as it comes. I go to the thing. I immediately get the next car that comes up, hop in, and I think I got to Mom's place like 5 minutes after you guys. After I
Literally.
took
And
off
the
3
guy-
hours afterwards.
The guy didn't even take off when we were in line. And he
So
got his
you
rental car. And literally we pulled in like 5 minutes after us.
Yeah, I flew from Chicago to Atlanta before you guys even got through that line, which is truly incredible.
So that whole line was moving nowhere. Like it was nowhere. There's a long line and everybody was just like, oh my God, like what is going on here?
Especially
Nobody
after a
moved.
trip. Oh,
The people at the front desk had no care in the world.
no,
They
I
were
don't know
like,
about you.
they were like yelling in the line. They're like, we have no more cars. We have no more cars. And they're like reservations only, but like everybody had a reservation.
We're all
and
like, yeah, there is. We
and
all
there-
have those.
there was a QR code. If you get the app, maybe you can like bypass the line and just go check into the preferred line or whatever. But we download the app, but then they were like, you can't use the app because the time is currently past when you were supposed to rent your car.
Right.
Like, what happens when your flight's delayed?
Yeah,
You can't do it.
you just can't
Yeah.
get a car.
Like you just can't adapt.
You prepay all that money on your credit card, and then they're just like, oh, yeah, we
Mm.
don't have a car. Sorry.
Sorry.
I mean, I can't. Has anyone ever like reached out to you guys about? Did you like tweet at them and stuff like that?
Jim got something.
I did, and they offered me half off of the upgrade request, so $10 a day instead of $20 a day.
Oh,
So they made him pay $20 a day or wait an
And they
indefinite
gave
amount
me
of
half
time.
of it back.
So they gave you $20
Yeah.
for the
So
worst experience of your life.
right.
Oh,
Or waiting
God,
in line
that's
for
a-
3 hours. Here's $20.
Here's what I'm starting to understand, guys. There is no pain worse than a toddler in addition to travel pain. Like when you add in a toddler to like a huge travel inconvenience,
oh God.
it is the most difficult test of your emotional mindset. This side of like, it's like that, and then the monks who light themselves on fire in protest. It's like 1 and 2. I mean, my brain
The discipline
felt like
required
Yeah.
is
my
similar.
mind. I literally was
Committing to a
like,
lifetime of solitude or 3
I
hours
was-
in an Avis
I
line
was
would be a
literally the
trip.
self-immolating monk. Like when I was in line at Avis, just like this, just trying to block out all the annoyance.
But
you
you weren't in
are a
line.
true American hero, Jim.
Wait, hold on. Let's
Yeah.
back this up here.
Yeah.
Jim wasn't in line. He never stood one second in line.
Yeah, but I was like walking in a circle.
But you were just there by default.
Yeah.
I stood in line the whole time. Me and Adriana.
Was he Michael?
Yeah, you were doing social media on your phone. I was literally having to make sure my kid didn't fall off a 3rd-story freaking railing. But you guys did help tremendously. All joking aside, you and Adriana helped keep her entertained.
Yeah.
and
How
stuff.
you would have probably been, I mean, well above your capacity if we weren't there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
What would you have done? I guess you and
I
Liz would
don't
have to
know. I mean, I
go
had
back and
visions
forth.
of doing. I had visions of doing lots of things. But what I would have done, I don't know.
Jim, you just ran through it like a rhino, just bashing everyone. Get car.
I could definitely see why
it's
people
so-
get so upset though.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, you can see why people just totally go postal and get made viral videos because they can't take it anymore.
And you keep
Yeah.
asking for help and no one responds or no one helps. And you're
Or-
like, I'm trapped here unless I make a scene or scream. Like,
Yep.
Or they
nothing
give
for
you
me to do.
attitude.
oh, they're like,
Sir, you need to calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir,
We're getting to it as soon as we can. Okay.
no, you're not. You're going extra slow.
Meanwhile, the people at the front
Way.
desk were like doing nothing. You know what I hate the most though is
Uh.
so while we're at the front desk, there's like random travelers who come up and skip the line just to ask a question to one of the few representatives that there are. So
Right.
therefore, they're so dumb and unaware of what's going on. They're like, "Is this the line?" And they're like, "Yes, ma'am." And then they're like, "Well,
I have a
do I-
reservation.
Do I have a reservation?" And the lady at the front desk was like, "Yeah, I know. You got to wait in line like everybody else." And she's like, "Can you just check on the reservation to make sure I have a reservation?"
Yeah. And then
Meanwhile-
she takes up time by the
Yeah.
lady even talking to her.
Yeah.
She's then now looking up this person's reservation who just went to the counter.
Can you check it? Can you check it? Just check it.
Just double check.
How about you download
like-
the app, read about this before you go on a trip, and figure it out yourself?
You know what I did
Where-
see on the way from Atlanta back to Rhode Island?
Hmm.
I got to encounter my favorite thing to counteract the negative.
I know what this is. Can I guess
You know
it?
what this is, right?
Yes, the TSA pre-check turn away.
Yes. When people try to just sneak
Oh.
on to TSA pre-check and they don't have pre-check.
Wait, that's a thing? I've never seen that before.
You
people still
never
do
watched
it.
Oh,
They'll
it's the greatest thing of all
they'll show
time.
up
What?
with their boarding pass and be like, I have TSA pre-check, right? I can just sneak on here. And then they get turned away and they have to go back to the giant line in Terminal South.
It's the
of
best.
that is-
Hartsfield
that is
Jackson
good.
Airport.
The other I did see though.
Nothing makes my heart more full than watching people get turned away.
Dude, I
from
do that
TSA
every
pre-check.
time. I always tell Caitlin to watch. I'm like, Caitlin, watch. This person doesn't have TSA. And she's like, what? And she's like, I'm like, no, just watch. And they'll go, they do the same face. Every single person does the exact same face.
Yeah.
They go, and then they're like, okay. And you're like,
Ah,
what are you doing? It's like
Yeah.
you can see it slowly process. You're like, it's so easy. What are you doing?
yeah, people actually think that they can just like, there's no harm in trying. I can just
Yeah.
sneak through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people are entitled. They feel that way. I did see on that along those same lines. I did see a zone 4 person
Ooh.
who tried to sneak into like the I think it was like Sky Priority or Economy Comfort or something. And he like just mows it on up there. And like the lady in the front was like the flight attendant, the gate agent. She was like, "Sir, you're zone 4." And he was like, "Oh,
Oh,
he
my
knew
bad.
he was zone 4."
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like,
What were they on?
I'm-
Like people who need assistance, and that was it.
no, they're on the
Yeah.
Sky Priority like Economy Comfort or whatever.
It's like first class, and he's like zone 4. That's what you said, right?
Yeah, they always
No,
just try to
what
sneak in there.
I have done before when I know that zone 3 is like finishing up, is I just go straight to it and pretend like I'm zone 3, but I'm the first zone 4.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a classic
yeah.
maneuver, man. Yeah. If you don't
But-
do that, you're not trying.
Yeah, and then you just like
Can't check
you
your
do
bag.
you do the whole like, "Oh, I didn't know," and then they're like zone 4. You're like, "Oh, I guess I'll just go now."
Well, I'm already up here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was getting a coffee. Oh, I guess I'm here. Okay, I'll just
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, now that I'm here,
Yeah, I'll just stand
Also-
at the opening of the gate real fast, and then I'll
Also-
just skirt in right behind you.
I want to bring up another topic.
please, please do.
How do you not know where you're sitting?
Oh, dude,
I'll never understand it.
dude,
I'll
I
never-
can't even.
There's numbers that you match the number to.
Dude, don't even get me
Say,
started.
there's a number here. There's a number there.
Dude,
You
there
match
was-
you match number to number and then letter to letter.
Dude, so I got a horror, like, great story about this.
This happened to us, by the way, on the way back. Some guy was sitting in our seats. He was like, "Oh, I just am in the wrong seat."
Yeah, it says
Like,
your seat
yeah.
number.
You are.
You
Yeah.
are. You see the
Fucking
number on your ticket is
move.
17. It's not 16. So you go to where the 16 is on the row.
Dude, there was when we were going to New Jersey.
Don't touch
last-
my daughter.
we were going to New Jersey actually for Thanksgiving to see you guys. Caitlin and I, we were on a plane, and I swear to God, the 2 rows in front of me, all 6 people got the seats wrong multiple different times. They literally were like, the 3 people in front of me, every single person on that was in the wrong row. They were like, "What? I'm in the wrong row," and it was so the seat in front of them was like what they were supposed to be in, and it was an exit row, so they paid more to be in it. And they all sat in the wrong row with less seats. And so this other girl comes in and goes, "Oh, that's my seat that you're sitting in." He goes, "Oh, the guy was so confused by him being in the wrong seat. He goes, "You
Was
can
he
have
old?
my seat." What? No,
Was
he
he
was like
old?
45, like 50 or something like that. Well within reason to be like understand what's going on. And he
Well
goes,
within reasonable mental capacity.
yeah. And so he
Right.
goes, he goes, "Oh, you can have my seat." And so the girl's like, "All right," and we get the free upgrade, and I didn't have to pay for it. Not only that happened, someone else comes and he's sitting in their seat. So he's not even in, like, they both got the wrong seat, like the girl and them, and he was in the wrong seat. And so he tried to move to his right seat, which was the paid one he paid for. And she was like, "I'm already trapped in by 2 people. Like, I can't get up." And it was this like fiasco of 8 people, none of which knew their seat. And I was like, just sit in your right seat. Like, what are you doing?
You know who has the most patience of anybody in the world are those flight attendants who just see that
Dude,
every single flight that happens, and
Could you
they're just
imagine?
like, "Oh,
I
wish
I
we-
like, I don't know
wish
how
I
they
kn-
do it.
I wish I have a
Sir,
flight attendant
sir,
on."
Sir,
Like,
can I
"Sir,
see your seat? This isn't your seat. You're actually up here. Thank you."
Yeah,
And
you're
it's like-
actually not even on this plane. What do you?
Yeah, no, see, your ticket says the number 15 with the letter A. You go to the number 15, the letter A. That's where you need to go sit.
Not
Yeah.
not just so. Some people just think they just randomly sit.
Oh yeah.
But oh, this looks good. I'll put
Yeah,
my stuff
The
here.
guy that was sitting in our seat tried to hop into another empty 3 rows, and then he got moved again, and he was just trying to like find
Dude,
like some
They-
sort of empty seat. He kept going to the wrong seat.
Why
Dude,
would
they
they do
always
that
try and-
before the? Why would they do that before the door closes?
because they think that like it's empty now and they can get like a whole row to themselves. And you're like, you're not getting a row to yourself. Just sit
Right.
and like, what makes you think there's not more people coming on this flight? It's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
I
I'll
can
never
see the
understand.
appeal of flying private.
Yeah, I bet you,
you
can.
don't say.
Yeah, it's weird. One day Michael will be able to afford a plane for us. and
Yeah,
then we
one
can-
Michael, what do
day.
you think? Like within the next year, it'll turn up for you? And you
Yeah,
can
a
start
couple
flying
months.
private?
Yeah, a couple
Yeah.
months, give or
Yeah.
take.
Hey, so any updates in the Redonda Vought case? Did they prosecute her?
No, I think it's coming in May, I believe. May 13th, maybe, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
The video did really well. I posted today. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Redonda Vought video on my channel, Dr. Cellini. It's doing really well. Thanks to Jim who made me do it.
Yep.
And I busted that one out last night after work, and somehow I got it uploaded this morning before I went to the gym at like 5 a.m. this morning. So
Wow,
Yeah.
the true warrior.
That's how you get it done.
The true warrior.
Where there's a will, there's a way. Do we have a vet
Oh my
corner?
God.
This
Yeah, I can do a vet corner.
do a little vet questions.
All right, guys.
Here was one.
Welcome to Vet Corner. We'll have a sound effect one day for this.
Yeah.
It'll be dogs barking and me crying.
Dog barking, you cry.
Josh Potter.
Dr. Cellini, there's an emergency for you in room 1.
Welcome to Vet Corner.
Yeah.
Welcome to Vet Corner. Being a vet is great. It's my childhood dream come true. On this episode of Vet Corner, I wanted to tackle a question that I get asked all the time, and it has to do with epilepsy in dogs.
Ooh.
One of the most common questions I get is there something poisoning my dog? Is my dog's flea and tick medication doing it? Is my dog's heartworm medication doing it? Are the power lines 3 miles from my house doing it?
5G.
Yes to that last one. Yeah.
5G.
What's that?
5G.
So the answer is yes to the 5G one.
Okay.
Chemtrails.
Right. But so while there are certainly cases where you can poison your dog with like ivermectin and stuff like that, depending on their breed, won't get into that.
Or if they have COVID.
Think of it this
Yeah.
way. If your dog is being poisoned, if you are being poisoned, would you have one episode of a seizure once a month occurring at a regular frequency if you're being poisoned?
No.
Or would you just be sick all the time and have seizures on top of being sick all the time?
Choice B, please.
Right. So if you're being poisoned, you're probably not going to be completely normal, happy, and healthy, and then just have a seizure once a month. So think of it that way, and the answer is almost always no. Your dog is not being poisoned. Your dog just has epilepsy because of genetic reasons.
Now, while we're on that same topic, what kind of poison would a dog get into that would cause a seizure? Like would antifreeze or stuff like that, or does that just like?
I mean, any like there's tons of different poisons, from rat baits to insecticides and organophosphates and stuff like that, strychnine, crazy things like that.
Mhm.
But drugs would be one.
Right.
Usually not marijuana, but something like methamphetamines and like cocaine and stuff like that. Maybe
Tylenol. How's Tylenol?
No, not Tylenol. Tylenol is gonna just destroy their GI tract and their kidney more than anything else. But usually not have seizures.
Gotcha.
But there's lots of different drugs that can do it, like ivermectin toxicity in certain breeds who can't handle it. If you overdose them, they can do it.
Interesting. I wonder if that happens in humans. I wonder if that happened with all the people taking ivermectin.
I think it did.
for COVID.
It absolutely
getting
actually
seizures?
did. Yeah, there was I don't have the actual study or anything, but I remember some
like reading
one of
people getting toxicity to.
yeah, especially in where did I read about that? I wanted to say it was like Alabama or something.
Also, there was a very robust study that came out looking at whether or not ivermectin does anything in early stages of COVID.
It was like
It was
absolutely
double-blinded,
does nothing.
randomized, placebo-controlled, and it showed no effect. And nobody is talking about the results of this study now.
Yeah, it's just swept under the rug.
Yeah,
Everyone's like, just move on from that one.
huge population.
It's like the
significant
ideal study
findings.
for like a for a
Yeah, but that's
It was
because
it's like the study, and like, why is Joe Rogan not being like, oh, look at this?
yeah.
that's because now
'Cause
they've
he's
moved
an
on
idiot.
to the they've moved on to
Yeah, can we
becoming
just say that Joe Rogan is a total idiot? Like, can we just
so
say that?
stupid.
Yeah,
so
he's-
dumb.
I mean, I'm not gonna say he's dumb.
He's dumb.
He's
not
clearly a
dumb,
smart
but
person,
he-
but he's not
Yeah,
a
he's not.
scientific expert.
He's an idiot.
I mean, he
And
might
it-
be dumb.
I think he's dumb. Have you
You
ever
got-
heard
you-
him actually speak with another person and the conclusions he makes as he goes through those like conversations? It's like
It's brutal.
it's so painful. It's so rough to listen to him like make these jumps to stuff, and you're like, no,
Yeah.
that's not how like
yeah,
he always used to do this
Yeah.
with like the physicists, anyone in science. He'd be like, he'd make these like
Whoa.
connections, and you're like, that's not like what are you even talking about? Like, that's not, like yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, like clearly you're an idiot. And I hate how everyone that's like in the comedy world is also like, man, you know, Joe's pretty smart. It's like, no, he's not. He's not like an intelligent person solving problems. He's like, he just has facts that he heard from people telling him. It's a completely
He's
different thing.
he's not you know an intelligent person maybe, but he's curious, and I think that gets. And he has a lot of very intelligent people on his podcast, like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, but then he
and
has
stuff.
complete on his podcast too, and he can't tell the difference between them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Like he
He's like,
has these fringe physicians on his podcast that talk about these conspiratorial COVID things that like the cardiologist and the other guy. He had two physicians
yeah.
on.
yeah, but
a
if
few
he just
months
has a
ago.
regular physician, you don't get any views. You
Right.
know, so that's what it's
True.
all about, right? So you have to get.
But then
to
he
get
had
these-
Sanjay Gupta on, and Sanjay Gupta's he's a neurosurgeon. He works for CNN, so he's not
Yeah.
going to know anything about the epidemiological aspects of COVID.
he hasn't practiced in a while too.
And then
I don't
people are
think.
like, "Oh, the
Right.
traditional physician didn't know anything."
Yeah.
He's a
like-
super subspecialized neurosurgeon. He has no idea
It's
about.
like asking me about it. I'd be like, I don't know.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah, or me.
Ask me about a mammogram. And we'll go from there.
yeah. That's what I do.
Yeah. Like ask me about the thing I
You
know
know?
about.
Like it's ridiculous. But I mean,
Now, having said that, CNN does suck,
Yeah. Well,
but
Well,
also
what-
Fox News sucks.
yeah, what news outlet doesn't?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, news is atrocious.
Well,
Yeah, well-
news is just, it's always been, but more so now, it's just been basically like how clickbaity and how
It's just reality
conspiracy
TV.
theorists can be. Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
It is. But that's what sells. That's what it all comes down to. But I was just
They-
saying is
they would
now
have-
you're saying no one's talking about that ivermectin trial. And that's because everybody's a global war expert now. So,
Oh yeah.
you know,
We've moved
I
on.
mean,
We've
we
moved on to
moved
the
on. No one
Ukraine
cares
stuff.
about the pandemic anymore. That's old news.
Yeah.
You know, we're all fine.
I was gonna say I saw the most heartbreaking video from there's believe it or not a Ukrainian veterinary neurologist who's trying to still see patients
Oh,
in the Ukraine, and his clinic is like,
how?
you know,
Yeah. What?
I don't know, like all around him he was showing like, you know, footage of how just like, you know, wrecked his town is.
Yeah.
And he's like holding a cat who's paralyzed and he's trying to do like physical therapy for it and stuff, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
so sad.
Yeah. It's terrible.
Yeah.
War
Yeah,
is
it's-
not good.
This isn't war, but I remember when I did my internship in South Florida, this was right after like a really bad hurricane, maybe a year or two after. This was 2009 when I started. And we were asking, it was like, what happens like when there's a hurricane that comes through? And they go, the interns have to stay. I go, what? They go, the interns have to stay because like last year the whole place was flooded and like all the power went out. The whole, you know, the area was wrecked for like a week, but just, you know, just completely flooded. And they're like,
Okay.
yeah, the interns all had to stay and like work 24/7. I'm like, I can't evacuate.
Yeah. I mean, first
they're
of all,
like,
I'd be
"No."
like, this intern's not staying.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Maybe the
what?
other ones do, but
Yeah. We got plenty here that can handle it. I'll be okay. Heading
yeah.
home.
Well, I mean, a lot of nurses and doctors and such have slept over at the hospital when there's like bad storms, snowstorms, hurricanes, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. That's pretty
We
common.
there's a OB-GYN call room that I always like to sneak into. Shh, don't tell anyone. But it's like very secluded in like our tower. There's like one floor, we have an observation deck, and then the other side of it is all these like really nice OB-GYN call rooms.
Mhm.
But no one knows about it except for like OB-GYN, and then like occasionally they try to transfer one into like an IR call room. And so I always used to go up there and like hang out and stuff and study. And and one of the whiteboards on the side of things, it's like, thanks for letting me use this call room to sleep. As like this nerd, like some RN was like snowstorm of 2017 or something. Because there was like a Friday and Saturday night where it just like dumped snow or something a few years ago in Chicago. And it was one of those things where it's like no one was really prepared for it yet, so the streets aren't plowed.
Yeah.
You're like, well, shit, I can't like make it home because all of a sudden there's a foot of snow on the ground, and it's like your car can't make it out of the driveway. I always thought that reminded me of that situation.
Trying to find a picture
It's on
of
the
my,
whiteboard.
I'm trying to find a picture of my call room, my intern year, because it was so bad. God, I can't find it.
Oh, the radiology one and the ED is like the dedicated diagnostic one is the worst call room. We've had to like get the administration to like clean it because it's so gross and like everyone uses it because
Yeah.
anyone who works at the hospital's key card works for our call room somehow, and so it's like,
Dude, do you guys have the grossest refrigerators at work?
Yeah.
they're
I am
absolutely
convinced
disgusting.
that like new species are evolving in our
Yeah.
refrigerator at work.
That's where
That-
COVID came from. Those refrigerators.
I wouldn't be
mean-
surprised, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I opened the refrigerator. I don't know why, because I never open our group, practice refrigerator in the break room.
Yeah.
And it was packed to the brim with Tupperware containing science experiments that used to be
Oh.
like food.
They've been there for years.
Everything is just looking completely rancid and wretched.
Oh yeah. That's why I don't even refrigerate my food when I bring to work. I just keep
I'm
it.
like,
I'm
how
like,
can
the 4
this
hours will
many
be fine.
Yeah,
people?
why would you?
Yeah, it's not worth it. I'm not leaving it in that. It's grosser to put it in there than it is to let it sit in room temperature for 4 hours.
Yeah.
100%. Oh, here we go. I finally found it. This looks like a prison, doesn't it?
Oh my God.
It really
Yeah.
does.
So the computer like didn't work. And then
Oh,
that
of
was the
course
bunk
not.
bed that I don't even know when the sheets were changed.
Oh,
But we would sleep on. It was also frozen in there in New York City. And I would go in there and I would put my like puffer coat on and just curl up in a ball and put it over my hood so my head wouldn't lay on the pillow because I don't know how long those sheets have been in there.
oh, God, it's so gross.
That
That
is
was
the mess.
residency?
Yeah.
Our call room, like a few months ago, there was one of the residents IR guys was like overnight. He went to go stay in there to like take a nap, and he went to go change the sheets himself because he was like, I don't trust these sheets, so I'll just go steal them, like old towel, like the heated towels and stuff. And he pulls out the sheets, and there's like used tampons, like multiples of them, like in the bed, like in the bedding.
bed.
In the bedding. There's literally like no joke. There's like 2 used tampons. And he took a picture and sent it. He's like, "This is unacceptable, FYI. Like, you can't just like," because we were like, either you're just tossing out your tampon, or like people are having sex in there and tossing out their tampon, or like, but it's like we'll have that. Like, people just use it to like, even though there's like dedicated nursing stations, there's like they'll pump in there. They'll do like there'll be like everything under the sun in our call room. And everyone's like, guys, I know we don't use this because like you don't have time on diagnostic call to even nap, but it's like you have to leave this room alone, people. What are
Yeah.
you
Also,
doing?
just be like human.
Yeah, be
Like,
like,
what would you do that at your own home?
That's so disgusting. I was like, what in the world? I mean, like,
Yeah.
that's
So
yeah,
stupid.
just like,
You animal.
yeah.
How did the three of us live in one house together for like 18 years?
I don't know.
Child,
I really don't
Like,
know.
like 3 of us.
Jim, tell everybody to
Yeah.
subscribe. We need subscribers.
Everybody,
Yeah.
guys, we need subscribers. We're coming up. We're doing pretty good with our engagement and all that, but we need subscribers. So I don't know what we have to do to get you to subscribe.
Jim will
Sell
answer
your
free
car.
vet questions for you.
I'll
if you
answer free
subscribe.
vet questions. I'll
Sell your
give you
car.
financial advice.
Yeah.
Just please click the subscribe button.
Subscribe, leave a comment, and say give a vet question for Jim.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
or
for
if you
Jim.
like
Leave
any
a vet
part of the
question
video,
for me.
subscribe. Just click the button. It
Or a
does no
human
harm.
question for us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
whatever
a
you
Yeah,
want.
they won't
specific
know it.
radiology question. that you
Or-
Well,
probably-
this doesn't falls within the realm of breast imaging, so I don't know it.
yeah,
Oh, God.
precisely.
What if
All
the
right.
question is, hey, what's the greatest modality for imaging of the breast? Oh, glad you asked.
So dumb.
How convenient.
All right. We'll see you all in the next one.